Hey, everybody, it's Always Bookin Comedy. We're back. We got Nick Gordon. I don't know if he can hear me. Can you hear me?
Shoot, I can't hear.
He can't hear. Well, anyways, I'll talk for a little bit while we're getting going. We're every Monday night live here. I met Nick at the Vermont Comedy Festival. I'm wearing their t-shirt right now. And we're going to get to know him in a second. Maybe. Let's see.
Oh, dear Mark, I can't hear you.
Okay, let's see. I can hear you.
Well, that's good.
Headphones, maybe?
I'm not sure what headphones are on. They're plugged in.
Volume?
Microphone is on. Volume was all the way up. I guess I'll switch. Stand by.
Check, check. Here we go. I can no longer hear you. You muted yourself.
How's that?
There you go. I can hear you just fine.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
okay. Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
All right, everybody. Re-wrap. Always Booking Comedy. It's Monday night. We got Nick Gordon, who's in Maine.
Yep.
In a lobster trap, I think. Where are you in Maine?
I'm in Bath, Maine currently.
Bath, Maine. Okay. A lot of bath salts in Bath, Maine?
Actually, unfortunately, there are. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we won't dwell on that topic. Nick, when did you get started in comedy?
I am quickly approaching my 10-year anniversary.
Amazing. And I was saying before you could hear me, we met at the Vermont Comedy Festival, great little comedy festival, and I'm wearing a t-shirt right now.
Absolutely.
Tell us about 10 years ago, would have been 2014.
2014, September, I was 34 years old, and I had wanted to do comedy since maybe age 14, 15. I don't know. Whenever Comedy Central came around and I was a teenager, and my parents wouldn't let me watch it. So I said, I need to do comedy. And it took me a while to get to that point of actually signing up for a workshop. And so I knew a guy, and he was offering a class, a workshop. And I
Did
said,
you live in Bath, Maine at the time? Where are we?
I lived in Portland, Maine at the time.
Okay, big city.
Big city of Portland. And across the bridge in South Portland, the guy he had a little theater, and he was running a comedy workshop. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I went in, and I was scared, and I went in by myself, paid the $300 or whatever it was, and I worked on generating 5 minutes of material over the course of the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, and and then I was one of the few that he thought had potential. So he said, you know what, I'm doing another class if you want to come back. So within that calendar year, I did 2 classes, two workshops, and developed 5 or 10 minutes of material, and started hitting the open mics, and that was 10 years ago, and here we are now.
Wild.
Old grizzled veteran.
What were the open mics like in Portland, Maine back then? Can you go every night?
You could go, 3, 4, 5 nights a week if you really pushed. There was always one at some bar, anywhere across the city. And I lived right there. It wasn't a big deal. I worked downtown too. So I would leave work. I'd go to the burger joint and do an open mic. And then I'd go to a bar and do another one. And then, a night later, 2 nights later, I'd go to another bar and do an open mic. And, it was just one of those things. You just kind of kept getting out there and meeting people, learning the ropes, and same as everybody. You just kind of dive in and see where it takes you. And you get some laughs here and there. It's kind of like, I always equate it to golf. Like every once in a while you hit a good golf shot and you're like, I'm a good golfer, aren't I?
Right.
I'm a good comedian. I got a laugh tonight in the course of 5 minutes. So yeah, it was a good scene. It still is a good scene in Maine. It's actually kind of surprising for such a.
I'm going to be there next week. I can't wait. Check it out. I've never done comedy in Maine. Pretty excited.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. All right. So you're doing the open mic thing. You took the class. What? Give us $300 worth of knowledge for free. What was the top thing you learned?
Well, every week he wanted us to come with new ideas, new material. And at the beginning, it was like, oh, I'll read this joke I wrote. I wrote this thing, and it would be 2 pages long. And he would say, like, all right, cut out that, make it shorter, get to the joke, get to the punchline. And that's kind of I've always tried to do. I'm not like a one-liner comic, but I've always just tried to get to the punchline, as fast as I can, or a punchline.
That's a solid lesson. By the way, Mark in North Carolina said hi. on the live stream, and I'm going to try something technologically advanced here, see if it works. Oh my goodness, look at this, everybody.
Wow.
I'm going to be in Orono. I don't even know how to say it.
Yep,
Portland, Maine, April 4th. We were just talking about it. Erroneous on April 5th, Auburn, Maine on April 6th. Auburn, Maine's a good, let's good segue, maybe.
Yeah.
You do something kind of cool in Auburn, Maine. Tell us about it.
So I help run the Great Falls Comedy Club in Auburn, Maine. It's inside of a beer joint. We have the back room. It's all ours. It's got a nice little stage. We sat Saturday night. We sat 55 people for a show.
Nice.
So that's pretty much capacity, but you're gonna love it when you see it. It's a little very dark. You turn the lights off. It's pitch black in there, you got the spotlight. And it's a tight little room, but it's a good comedy room. Low ceilings, laughter. When it's that packed, the laughter there's no place else for it to go but right back at you.
I love it.
So a lot of comics are excited to work there, and we're creating a pretty big scene right there in Auburn, Maine. I have to say for myself.
How so I have so many questions.
Yeah.
First off, have you been in this venue the whole time?
No, we started in a pizza joint, 4 or 5 years.
Was it called Great Falls Comedy Club back then? Or was it like a showcase?
It was a showcase. It was an open mic, really, to begin with. We just said, hey, we need another open mic, and we don't have one up in that area. So, let's start an open mic. It was at a pizza joint that charges way too much for their food. We said, this is great. She's letting us use the upstairs and do an open mic on Wednesday nights or whatever night it was. And we get to come in here and just hang around with our friends, and they let us swear. It didn't matter. And
was it kind of like an ambush comedy situation?
It was a little bit of an ambush comedy. Yeah. At the beginning,
there was a mic just like that in Denver, and it was hilarious because people would show up with their families, and open micers are not known for their sensitivity.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
that did not last very long, nor did that business.
Yeah.
Is that pizza shop still in business?
It is still in business. Yeah. Okay, they do well. They're just around the corner actually from where we are now. But my comedy partner Leonard, he lives in Auburn, and he knows all the business people. It's a small town. And Maine is a big small town, realistically speaking. But
people come from all over, or is it just Great Falls folks?
It is people from all over. We have some regulars that we use at a local comics. But people come from.
I meant audience members. We'll get into comics in a second.
Yeah, audience members are mostly people of the region. We did have a guy come this weekend who we knew was coming, who runs a theater. She's almost 2 hours away, and we have a show with him coming up later in May. And he said, "I'm going to come out and see you guys after work and go to the show." So that was nice of him to do. But yeah, generally it's people from the local area. It's a city, Lewiston, Auburn are called the Twin Cities, and we're right there in the middle of it. So it's a good location to have it. It's it's not.
So what did you? Was there like a divorce with the pizza people, or did you find this new?
No, we just we kind of outgrew it.
Okay.
We were doing the open mic, and we realized the space isn't perfect for it. And they do charge a lot for a glass of wine. So we said, you know what, we should go around the corner to another bar and see what we can do there. We were always looking for other spots.
And how did that happen? Like, how do you pitch that bar?
That is a good question. I think we knew somebody who knew somebody, and they said, "Oh, you guys are doing comedy. Why don't you come here and do comedy?" And we said, "Well, if you want it, sure."
Yeah.
We'll give it a whirl. And that's how a lot of the places have happened. It's like, why don't you come here and try it? And I was like, all right.
Yeah. And is that bar where you are now? Or
nope, it's actually across the street.
Okay, so then you hopped again. Persistence.
We hopped again. Yeah. But
this whole time, are you like collecting email addresses? What's the trick to getting butts and seats?
We do collect email addresses, social media. We were actually told recently that our social media presence is quite good, and some of our website, greatfallscomedyclub.com, is one of the better ones regionally.
It is incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Your website is great.
We unfortunately have to pay a little bit of money for that, but it's worth it because people see it. There's
Yeah, it
a
looks
newsletter.
professional. Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't have
exactly.
any qualms buying a $20 ticket or whatever.
Right,
That
right.
website.
That's the thing, and plus, Eventbrite fees and that sort of thing. So it
Eventbrite
helps.
fees are awful. We should talk about. Am I going to see you in Auburn?
Uh,
No,
no, actually, you're not,
no.
because
Okay.
my sister's getting married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations to her. That's
I
cool.
guess.
Yeah, I gotta weigh around those Eventbrite fees. We should chat
Oh,
sometime
okay,
offline.
interesting.
I've
All
been
right,
experimenting with something and it works great. It's awesome.
I like it.
So okay, tell me a little bit more about the social media. Or do you have your fingers in that, or is somebody else the expert?
Somebody else is Leonard's the expert, and in fact, he's not even the expert. There's another person that was just a friend of a friend who kind of helps and pushes it a little more than what we do. We're all in our 40s, so it's like, yeah, do we really know what we're doing here?
What are some tips you've overheard? What do you think makes your social media presence successful?
Well, we have consistency. We schedule posts to go at the same time each day or each week. Something to have, so it's people can see it all the time. They know if there's a Saturday show, they're going to see a post on Tuesday about it. That sort of
Okay.
thing. Just some consistency. That way, it's always top of people's feeds and that sort of thing. I don't know how the hashtags really work, but we have like a make laughter a priority hashtag, and that sort of thing. We're trying to kind of create connection through all that jazz. I'm not an expert, but I do see it regularly, and of course we just share. We like,
Do you do still images or videos?
we have yet to do videos. We're trying to do videos. I think the people who get the most traction do have videos, even if they're 30-second, just one joke and a laugh videos. I think those are the best, but we mostly still images of the poster. We try to do some other things where it's like, today was such and such. April Fool's was today, so we tried to make a post about April Fool's, and make a post about Valentine's Day or whatever. Just
Sure.
tie
Keep
it
it
into the theme of
topical.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you find that are there customers that come to like 50 shows a year?
There are customers who come to quite a few shows. Yeah, we have repeat customers. We have a lot of familiar faces. But what is amazing, I think, is we have at least one big show a week, and there's always fresh faces, and
Nice.
that is something I didn't expect to see. Is like every time I am there are a group of people, 20, 30, whatever it is, that I have never seen before. And that is an amazing thing, because a lot of people will say, oh, comedy, it's the same people all the time telling the same jokes. You've heard that before, I'm sure, and that's how comedians work. But we're having audiences that are not the same every time, so they're seeing me. They see, if I'm on the stage 3 times a month, it's a new audience each time, it seems like, which is great. So
Right. That's
yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about a big booking win. Any exciting comics you've had on your stage?
About a year ago, I was on the Instagram, as one does in the bathroom, and I came across a video of Sam Miller from Olympia,
Oh yeah,
Washington.
Olympia, Washington. I've had breakfast with Sam. Good
Yep,
guy.
yep. And I saw his video of him. I don't know if we can swear on this or not, but
Sure.
him having sex as a 18-wheeler coming down out of the Rockies. And
Okay.
I laughed. And it was one of the first times in recent memory that I actually laughed at somebody's joke. And I thought, wow, that's a good joke. I like that joke a lot. I'm going to text this guy. And I texted him through Instagram. And I don't even know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes passed. And he's like, thanks so much, dude. Call me right now. And I said, he sends his phone number. I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this about? Like, what have I done? This guy's a big time comedian. He's on Instagram, So I call him and he's like, dude, that's amazing. You're one of the, you and a few others have commented on this. And I said, I'd love to book you out here in Maine. And he's like, I would love to come to Maine. And we talked and we texted back and forth, and we set some stuff up for last September, 2023. He came out and he did a run of like 4 or 5 shows, and including our club on Saturday night. We did 2 shows, and he absolutely blew the roof off the place. And it was such a pleasure meeting him. He's such a nice guy. He's so down to earth. I mean, his story. It's incredible what he's gone through, and he's come
check
around.
him out, everybody. Sam Miller, Olympia,
Sam Miller
Washington.
from Olympia,
So funny.
Washington.
All around the country, no matter where
Oh,
you
yeah.
are, you might see him.
And he's going to come back this July.
Oh, cool.
And we've set up a couple of 3 shows It's kind of more theater, 150 seat venues, plus
Fun.
our club too, hopefully. But he's getting big. He's released an album already, so
Yep.
I was so proud of that. I was so happy that I saw something on a video and I immediately knew this guy's special. And lo and behold, I mean, man, he's a killer.
That's
60
such a
minutes.
cool story.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Okay, so omitting names, tell us about some kind of failure that you learned from with the club.
There's this Mark Masters guy that we booked. I don't know what's going on.
We've sold no tickets yet.
I know
He's coming in like a week. What the hell?
Hair's on fire. No, I mean, unfortunately, a lot. Once people hear you book shows, people reach out, and you're never quite sure. You want to assume that the people reaching out know their level, and when someone says, "Hey, I can do 15 or 20 minutes," it's like okay, you're good. You want to do 15? We'll put you on for 15. We trust you. You must have. And so we had a couple times where we put someone on. It's a feature spot or an opener, 15 minutes. And I had one kid tell me one time, he's like, "This is the first time I've ever done more than 5 minutes." And I said, "The show's in half an hour. You know that, right?" Like you better.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he did okay, and actually he's gotten quite good. But what a moment where your heart to take a skip. It's like, oh, okay, you're but
yeah,
those
it's
are
tough in
moments
smaller
as a booker.
towns. I do a lot of small towns, and sometimes the support acts are not super strong. Great attitudes.
Good. Yeah, no, they want to be there. They really do think, and it's just like, I've always prided myself on the fact that if I want to be good at something, I watch who is the best at it. Whatever it is in my life that I was when I was a kid, I took karate, and I would always watch, the black belt in the class, like how is he doing or she's doing what it is that I want to be doing, and that's who I, mimicked after. And I feel like some people don't necessarily have that in their lives, that they don't have that forethought to say, like, they think that their way is the right way, and it's like maybe it is, but most likely it's not.
Where do you go near you to watch great comedy live?
Oh,
Other than Great Falls Comedy
right.
Club, Mark Masters coming on April 6th, 2024.
Get your tickets now. Merrill Auditorium in Portland is a great spot.
Okay.
Actually, right near my office, my real job in Portland, it's I don't know how many seats it is, but 3-tiered, old timey sort of opera house sort of deal. I got to see Jerry Seinfeld there recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was neat. And even up at the top level, it was still like a good show. And then the State Theater is always a good spot too. Mark Maron came recently to the State Theater. A few others have come there. It's a nice venue for stand-up comedy. It's still a theater, but it's tight, and then kind of a smallish stage.
What's the 150 seater you were referencing before?
So the one we're gonna go to later in May rather is the Colonial Theater in Belfast, Maine.
Huh.
It's kind of out of the way a little bit, but it's a movie theater with a stage in front of it, and they have they have a lower bowl and then an upper tier, balcony. It's a neat little thing. It's tight. They're very close to the stage, so it makes for a decent show. And they actually closed down for about a year because of finances, and they just came back. And as soon as they came back, the general manager reached out and said, "Hey, we got to get something back in here other than watching Jaws 4 or something again."
Yeah, that's cool. I do a kind of regular movie theater show.
Mm-hmm.
No stage in that one. I've done one in Boulder that has a stage there. That's nice. I have to drag in my stage.
There's other ones that do that same thing too, more more up to date theaters.
Do you find have you done a bunch of movie theaters? Have you noticed that the noise dampens? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
It's such a bummer. If there are any comics out there and you're on stage and you feel like you're bombing, don't worry about it. Just look at the mouths. If it looks like they're laughing, they're laughing. But movie theaters are constructed in a way so, like, when you drop your popcorn or crunch your candy, people can't hear it. They can hear the the booming spaceships and whatnot. It just swallows the noise. A theater I'm in right now isn't terrible, but I did one coming out of the pandemic, and it was brutal. It had really high ceilings, and people would be killing and you couldn't hear the laughter really at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're in the audience, you might hear it, but on stage you can't. And you look on the sides, on the walls too. You can see the sound deadening material on the
Yeah.
walls. It's like, oh,
Yeah, and
shoot.
sometimes the ceilings have,
Yep.
have sound deadening material as well,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
pretty rough.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back to Great Falls Comedy Club. Any like aspirations? Where do you go from here?
Well, obviously it would be great to have a larger space to, seat 100 or 150 people in
Do you
our
think you
own
could
space.
accommodate that? Do you like sell out and you have demand for that, or?
So this weekend we sold out our first show, and then our second show was half sold out. So
Okay.
we knew going in, it was Jimmy Dunn this weekend, and he's on the reboot of Frasier on Paramount Plus now.
Oh, cool.
He plays Moose, and he's a local, New England comedy legend, so to speak. And we had him, and he said, "Can I do 2 shows?" And we said, "If you want, we'll put it out there." But we never really sell out the first show, unless it's walk-ups. We would, but
Yeah.
and he sold out the first show quick.
Wow.
And fortunately, we had the second show for spillover. About 25, 30 people came to the second show. And so we could do it that way, or just find a larger space that's more conducive to, comedy plus the other things that we like. It's a small stage. It's a small room.
Mhm.
Really, 55 people is the max. And it's good. It's great for stand-up comedy. But if ever we wanted to have, I got to see Sam J recently at the Vermont Comedy Club, and that seats about 150, and it's much more open, spread out, ability to move tables and chairs around. Whereas we don't really have that in our space. So that would be the thing, is in the future sometime having a larger space.
Yeah.
But that's one of those. Is it? Do we need that? Does the town? Does the
I mean,
city need
it's
that?
stressful. You
Right.
add more space, then sometimes you get
Mhm.
financial problems. If
Right, and then you do have to
done
book.
well.
We have local comedians who are local headliners. They're very good. They could, if they wanted to, travel and do other cities, but they all have day jobs. They all have kids or whatever obligations. They don't really want to travel to Ohio or Florida. I don't know where.
Yeah.
But not that they don't love you people out there in those areas, but they live here and they like it here.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have we do have a proper, I'll say a proper comedy club in Portland that seats probably closer to 100, but it'd be nice if I ran it.
Right. How far away is Portland from you guys?
From here in Bath and in Auburn, it's about 45 minutes to Portland. Not terrible, but a trip down the highway, and for an evening of comedy, even on Friday or Saturday night, it might be a little much for somebody. It's
Do you
nice
think
for them
that
to have.
competes at all with you guys? If there's a big enough name?
If there's a
notice
big enough
that?
name, it could. But the population of Portland is large enough where I think most of the people going there are from the Portland area or south of Portland, perhaps. I think,
Right.
People in our area come from, all around. I don't remember. We looked at the radius of the population around Lewiston, Auburn, and there's enough people to compete with the Portland area. It's just that they got to come a little further, and it's not the big city.
Are you guys open year round? Do you have seasonality? When's the worst time to sell tickets and the
We
best?
argue with each other on this all the time, because in the winter, January and February, when it's snowing, it seems like it's the worst time. But obviously, that's the time when people want to get out of the house a little bit.
Yep.
And then we say, well, in the summertime, July and August, when people want to go to the lake or the beach, this and that, they don't want. But it seems like we have consistent crowds all year round, and we're getting actually better with it. So I don't think there really is a lull other than around holidays. We were talking about July 6th is a Saturday, and we thought that's going to be a tough one. We should, but we found two local guys that want to do a co-headlining night. Nice. And I said, you guys can have each 30 minutes, co-headline. I said, but you got to bring your friends. You got to bring your family. You got to promote amongst them. They're 2 younger guys. They're very good. Yeah. But no one knows who they are. So sure. I said, you guys can have that night, but you damn well better bring your friends and family.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Vermont Comedy Festival a little bit. Yeah. Have you been to other festivals?
I have. I've been. Locally we have what's called the Bricks and Bridges Festival, actually in the Lewiston, Auburn area. unrelated to what we do, but another good comedian in the area, Mark Turcotte, and his friend Anne-Marie Keene. They put that on. They do a pretty good job. So I've been to that one once or twice, and then the Portland, Maine Comedy Festival, run by Ian Stewart and Greg Baker. That's in the summertime, and that's just, I don't even know how many venues. Last year, it seemed like there was a comedy show every other half an hour, running for 4 days. It was kind of bonkers.
That's wild.
Yeah, so those were fun. I'm in works to try to develop my own festival somewhere north, and kind of, have you ever heard of down East Maine, like where Acadia National Park is, that sort of area? Yeah, it's an interesting fisherman sort of villagey part of Maine. That's they have more
folks get there.
How do they get there? Route 1.
Okay, like where did it? I mean, I assume you'd get comics from all over the country.
I would love to. I think it might be something where we start out just with local, talent, because it's an area that's underserved for comedy.
Okay.
But there are breweries up that way. There are some theaters. There are things that you could utilize to have a couple comedy shows over the course of a day or two. So using the model of the Vermont Comedy Festival, where it's local guys, just trying to get out there and do some comedy in whatever space they can. There's no proper comedy club, but I think there are places that would love to have it, and I'm sure some money to sponsor it as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is that a like next year goal, or could that happen this year?
That could happen this year. There's potential. I know I met a guy just recently who lives up in the area. So I've talked to him a little bit. He's somebody that goes back to the heyday. We had the Comedy Connection in Portland back in the early 2000s, late 90s. And he kind of came up through there, and then he disappeared off into the woods of Maine and Canada. And he's resurfaced recently. So I think we might be able to employ him. And another guy from Adam Hatch. You met. You're going to work with Adam. So Adam's agreed to help out as well. He's kind of close to that area. So, and he travels. He's a traveling salesman sort of thing. So
yeah,
he's met some people up there.
Nice. Yeah. Adam Hatch is going to be on that show in Orono, Maine, April 5th, everybody. It's a Mark Masters New England tour. You know what I realized today? This is a little embarrassing. What's wrong with this picture, would you say?
Well, I would say your map of Maine and New England is kind of askew.
It's tilted. That's not what I'm thinking.
Okay. You have too much gray hair. I don't know.
Well, it took me about a week to realize this. That lobster is dead, everybody, because of the color of it. It should have been like blue or green, whatever the color that is.
Yep, that is true. They come out.
But maybe
green.
Somebody threw the lobster at me. I think I'm a little worried going up to Maine. People are going to be like, "I'm glad you didn't notice that right away."
I didn't. But here's the thing. I grew up in Maine. I don't like lobster.
Okay. Speaking of, that's something I do want to cover. Where should I get like a lobster roll or something when I'm up there? Is this a good time of year for that, or is it only in summer?
Any time of year is a good time of year. I think if you could go into Portland and go down onto Commercial Street, there's Portland Lobster Company. There's High Roller Lobster Company, and the Dry Dock is a place. And I'm trying to think. There's one more place that Jay's Oyster Bar.
Okay, nice, good advice. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Show running, road stories.
I don't have any road stories yet. What's that?
Have you gotten really drunk people? Have you ever had to kick somebody out?
Oh, just after the pandemic, we had somebody. They allowed us to do a show at one of the hotels, so we had everyone spread out, and actually we sold out. We had a good show. We had Casey Crawford on that show.
Oh, Casey is so funny. I heard he just won the Boston Comedy Festival.
Exactly. He was on this show, and I think it was before he went up. And some guy was like, "I'm not putting my mask back on, and you can't tell me." And to the waitress, and like she's just a kid, and we're sitting there in the back going like, "Are we supposed to do something here? Like we're just kind of running this show." And eventually, we just kind of stood there and was like, "You got to go." And there's a comic up on stage, and I'm like, "This is ridiculous! Like, come on, man, you paid."
Have you never had to kick somebody out of Great Falls?
No,
that's great.
We've been so lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a type of space where you come into it and you know why you're there.
Yeah,
and you pay money.
It's not ambush comedy.
It's not ambush comedy. This wasn't either. It was what was shocking is the guy paid good money for dinner and a comedy show, and he was just being a jackass.
Yeah.
And had to leave early. So
It happens.
it
All right,
does.
let's land this plane. Nick, how can people find you? Nick Gordon, everybody, from Bath, Maine.
Yeah. So Instagram and on Facebook, nickgordoncomedy.com. I have my own website, nickgordoncomedy.com, rather, I should say. And then, of course, at Nick Gordon Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, and at Great Falls Comedy Club on a regular basis. Check that website out.
Nice
Great
hoodie.
Falls.
I like that.
Thank
Great
you.
Falls
Yeah.
Comedy Club, everybody.
These are for sale.
GreatFallsComedyClub.com. I will be there, Auburn, Maine, April 6th. You can see the little beer icon. That means it's in a brewery. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Attention to detail, other than the color of the lobster.
Beautiful.
Basically
Beautiful.
a perfect poster. Nick, it's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're back on. Do we get somebody ask a question? Oh, we just got a thank you. Thank you from North Carolina. Thank you, Mark, for tuning in every week. Really appreciate you. We'll be back next Monday with another great episode of Always Bookin Comedy. I'm gonna stop this and wave goodbye.